I've heard people say that baseball is boring. I disagree. It's a slow game compared to other popular sports. But I've always found it amazing to watch a pitcher fool a batter, or a batter hit a ball 450 feet. It's often referred to as a thinking man's game, and there seems to be some truth to that. While watching on TV, the camera often shows a close-up of the manager with a blank stare on his face while he gazes out onto the field, as if he's trying to remember where he left his wallet. The players that I watched as a kid during the 1980s and 1990s are all retired or are in some type of coaching role today. Nostalgia can be crippling and even hypnotizing. Remembering the players that captured your imagination while being a kid can be a blissful escape from the present. But there are players that I have forgotten that I watched as a kid. Journeymen who spend over 20 years of their life playing a game at its highest level, reaching milestones, dominating, but whose memories have become buried by new baseball stars. It's my intention as an aging baseball fan to dig up the memories of past baseball players that likely inspired today's players, that played the game right, that quietly dominated. I want to revive the memories of the fossilized moments that were created. Paul Leo Molitor was born August 22, 1956 in St. Paul, Minnesota. After graduating high school, the St. Louis Cardinals drafted Molitor in the 28th round of the 1974 draft as a pitcher. He decided instead to attend college at the University of Minnesota, where he immediately shined, becoming a starter for the Minnesota Golden Gophers and earning All-American honors as a shortstop his sophomore year. After his junior year in college, in 1977, he was selected third overall by the Milwaukee Brewers. He signed with the Brewers, and like most new players, he started in the minors and joined the Class A Burlington Bees of the Midwest League. His time with Burlington was short, sweet, and impressive. In 64 games, he hit .346 with 8 home runs, 50 RBI, and 14 stolen bases. He started the 1978 season with the Brewers at shortstop, then he was moved to second base. He posted a .273 batting average with 45 RBI and 30 stolen bases in 125 games. He finished second in Rookie of the Year voting behind the great Eddie Murray. In 1979, he batted .322 with 62 RBI and 33 stolen bases in 140 games. He made his first All-Star team in 1980. In 1982, Molitor was moved to third base. In 160 games, he posted a .302 batting average with 71 RBI and 41 stolen bases. He helped the Brewers reach the World Series, where he batted .355 in 33 plate appearances. In Game 1, he recorded 5 hits, which is the current World Series record for most hits in a World Series game. They were defeated in 7 games by the St. Louis Cardinals. Molitor's 1984 season was cut short due to Tommy John surgery, only playing 13 games. In 1985, he bounced back, batting .297 with 21 stolen bases in 140 games. During the 1987 season, he hit .353 with a career-high 75 RBI in 118 games. He also had a 39-game hitting streak. The streak stands as the 5th longest in baseball history and remains the longest since Pete Rose's 44-game hitting streak in 1978. Between 1988 and 1992, Molitor continued to dominate batting, a combined .313 with 325 RBI and 914 hits. In 1991, he led the league in at-bats, runs scored, hits, and triples. In 1992, he posted a career high in RBI with 89. After the 1992 season, Molitor wanted to stay with the Brewers, but the Brewers were not willing to offer him more money. Not because they didn't want him, but they could not match other offers. He eventually signed a 3-year, $13 million contract with the Toronto Blue Jays. He immediately began to dominate. In 1993 with Toronto, he had a career year. In 160 games, he led the league with 725 plate appearances and 211 hits. He posted a .332 batting average with a career high in RBI, doubles, and home runs. He came in second to Frank Thomas for AL MVP. Comparing numbers, in my opinion, I think he was robbed of that award. During the 1993 season, Molitor played in more games, had more at-bats, runs, hits, stolen bases, and had a better batting average. It doesn't make sense to me how Frank Thomas got the vote, but so goes baseball. The Blue Jays made it to the World Series that year. Molitor hit 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs in the series, earning the World Series MVP award and tied the World Series record by batting .500 in 6 games, in which the Blue Jays eventually won the World Series. In 1994, the season was cut short by a strike, but Molitor still hit .341 and led the AL in games played and singles. He went 20 for 20 in stolen bases, missing the record by 1. He left the Blue Jays after the 1995 season and headed back to his hometown to play for the Minnesota Twins. Molitor joined a rare club when on September 16, 1996, he earned his 3,000th hit. At the time, he was the first player to reach 3,000 with a triple. Molitor became the second 40-year-old to have a 200-hit season, and he led the league with 225 hits. In 1997, he hit .305 with 89 RBI, which would mark his 12th season with an average above 300. He would retire after the 1998 season and stated, quote, "My heart tells me I've done what I can do on the field and in this game, and I'm happy to leave it playing my last season in a Twins uniform," unquote.
You know, my dreams never took me to Cooperstown. Like most of these guys, and probably all of them, you know, I didn't play the game to get here. I played the game because I loved it. It's that magical place where baseball is respectful, traditional, simple, and pure. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you.
Molitor is one of 5 players in Major League history with at least 3,000 hits, a .300 lifetime batting average, and 500 stolen bases. There are many players that have long careers, put up Hall of Fame stats, then retire. I'm not implying that we should hold all the memories of every player that's ever played, but players like Molitor should be discussed or mentioned during conversations. But to mention him, we must remember first, or revisit the quiet dominance that he played with. Too often, players like this get lost in the fog, almost becoming holographic. I hope my efforts to unearth the memories of Paul Molitor's time in the majors triggered some nostalgia for you, or if this was your first time hearing about him, I hope it's inspired you to research other players. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks. If you like these types of vids, like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Thanks again, stay safe and healthy, and stay tuned.